Hello, welcome back. This is Jeff Byers, and this is Module 6, The Witch's Cauldron. Hopefully you'll have some fun with this one. And the overview of this is, in this module, the student will be introduced to Maya effects. And you've already gone over fields and collisions, and you know how to control these particle attributes. So the idea now is to take you through the Maya effects. That's what this module is about, and creating particle effects with the Maya effects to complete an entire scene. Okay. All right. The student will model and texture a witch's cauldron scene and an outdoor environment. Student will model and texture a large cauldron, a cauldron stand, a large stirring spoon, firewood, ground, and background. Student will learn how to create a lightning effect and a fire effect for the firewood to simulate burning wood and make changes to the attribute settings for a more convincing, realistic look. Student will create a spark simulation when the lightning hits the firewood. The student will create a bubble simulation that reflects boiling water. Student will also create a steam particle simulation that reflects water vapor from boiling water. Student will tweak out the particle attributes for a more realistic simulation. Student will create a chain of events that starts with a fire strike that hits the firewood, okay, creating an explosion of sparks, and then the firewood will start to burn, so catch on fire. The cauldron liquid heats up and starts to boil, which causes the steam and the bubbles. So you probably want to do the bubbles. You can have the steam come up too at the same time if you'd like, and the steam rises up to the cauldron. The student will save the completed The Witch's Cauldron simulation as an MB file and a Playblast movie. I'm going to be asking for a render, so you're going to play the simulation, and at the very end where the fire's going and the bubbles are coming up and the steam's coming up, you'll take a render of that. Also, it would be cool to see a render of the lightning strike and then the sparks. Okay, so we'll have 3 rendered images that I need you guys to turn in. That way I can see the textures, the lighting that you got created, all the visual effects of the lightning strike, the sparks, and then the steam and the fire and the bubbles. Okay, so what are you going to be modeling and texturing? Okay, so you're going to be modeling and texturing a large cauldron. You're going to be modeling and texturing a cauldron stand. And the rest of the stuff you can find on your own. So if you want to go out and search for a large stirring spoon, something that stirs a big pot, not like a spoon that you eat with, firewood, and then the exterior environment, which can be the ground, those things are up for grabs as far as you finding them if you want to. Otherwise, sometimes trying to find this stuff takes longer than you just modeling it and texturing it. I mean, honestly. So it's up to you, but those are required. These are required pieces, and the required simulations are, we have 5 of them. The lightning, that's an effect. The sparks are going to be the particle effects. The fire is an effect. The bubbles are particle effects. And the steam is going to be a particle effect. So I'm not going with the steam or the smoke effect that Maya has. So we're going to create our own steam effect, which I think looks better. You guys can look through the objectives, and then Module 6 lesson content, lectures, and video tutorials. What are Maya effects? Basically, Maya effects are built-in programs that make it easy for you to create complex animation effects such as smoke and fire, lightning, and of course you can see here we've got what looks like fireworks. Okay, so each Maya effect offers different options and attributes, okay, that you can tweak out. So we've got Maya effect types. So we've got fire. So this is an effect that it's kind of stylistic in nature. Most of these are, so don't think they're going to be realistic. Okay, if you want realism, you need to probably use Houdini or a plugin that specifically uses volumetrics and volumetric effects. and there are lots of solutions out there for plugins. Maya has a pretty robust Bifrost system. It's not quite as good as some of the systems I've seen that are out there, like RealFlow. RealFlow is an excellent. I have that here, but it's too expensive to bring to the school or have the school have it and you guys use it. But they do have student pricing. Okay, so if you're looking for like another liquid effect that does really well, like flames and liquid simulations, is Phoenix FD, and that works with V-Ray, and that's fairly cheap. It's V-Ray. You have to have V-Ray. That's about 100 and change, and then the Phoenix FD, which is the water simulation, fire and explosion simulation. So they all work together, and that's another 100 plus change. So you're going to have like 200 plus invested, but you're going to have amazing. We have that at school, but we just don't have it here online. So anyway, we'll deal with what we have in Maya, and it's a lot of fun to play with and use, and you can use it for your stylistic animations. It's not going to work for realistic shots, but it works for more stylistic. So we've got Fireworks, which is actually looks pretty good out of the box. Pretty amazing. You don't have to mess with that too much. We're not really using it for anything. It's hard to find stuff to use this for. And lightning, you're going to use a lot. So fire and the lightning effect. Okay, you'll be using that. The shatter effect, you're going to be using that a lot. And this you'll never use because it's too hard to use. You have to have sprites to be able to even get it to work. And I'll add that sprite if you want to play with it a little bit. When I go over each one of these, I'll just have on the smoke effect, I'm going to have a little zip folder that you guys can open up and just follow the instructions on the video down below. My effects options, they're just here for you to look at. So if you're creating fire and you're not sure how, and I kind of gave you an introduction to it, and these options, the attributes that you can change, they're all right here, so you can easily look at those and reference those. And the fireworks options and attributes are here, and lightning, so on and so forth. We got shatter here, and we've got smoke here. Okay, so then I take you through very quickly. This is the introduction to fire that I had. I believe it was in the last one, the fire effect with the warehouse fire, and you had to put that out. That's this one, so you can skip this one if you're comfortable with the fire one. And then the introduction to fireworks, I want you to watch that, even though you probably will never use it, but it's still fun to look at, and you might want to experiment with it. No, I didn't want to do that. No. And introduction to lightning, you can watch that one, and then introduction to shatter. You definitely want to watch these two, the shatter effect. Even though we're not going to use the shatter effect in this particular module, we'll probably use it for different other modules that are coming up. And the course assignment, you guys can go through. You can read that. So there's the Module 6 course assignment. And make sure you read this very carefully. Okay. So it says right here, you can either model and texture the assets yourself or find assets online. And you can do that with the cauldron if you want to. Everything you see here, you're going to have to find. You don't have to create the simulation yourself. I prefer that you create the cauldron yourself. I mean, I always want you guys to go above and beyond and create all the stuff yourself. But if you can find the stuff and you want to use it, great. Just make sure it fits. A large cauldron, cauldron stand, large stirring spoon. And you will, honestly, I'll be honest with you, you'll probably spend more time trying to find it than you could have just, modeling it out and texturing it real quick. Okay, some of you are really quick, so it's probably going to take you a lot longer to find this stuff than to actually just model and texture it. Creating the witch's cauldron scene. This is basically where we start. These are old videos. I will just let you know. I have a disclaimer up here. Please note, the disclaimer basically says these are old videos. I mean, they're really old. I don't remember, 2016 or something like that. So 2016, nothing's really changed with the effects except for the fire. So make sure you read this. The fire effects is down here, fire simulation. So what I ended up having to do, this is really important, that before you even do the simulation, before you do anything, you want to make sure your scale is set up right. Okay, I even have it in here. Okay, the fire scale is different, and so when you create a sphere, okay, you don't want to scale it smaller or larger. You just want to create the sphere, and then go ahead and add the fire effect on it and let it simulate and look at it. It looks pretty good. That's a 1x1 unit in Maya, and we're in centimeters. Okay, you should be in centimeters. So your scene's going to be too small if you go each centimeter equals 1 foot, right? So each one of those grid marks is 1 foot. So you can model your scene that way, get everything set up, and then what you're going to want to do is select everything, delete by type history, and freeze transformations. And then you're going to want to go ahead and select everything and parent it to a locator. So you can go to create locator, go to create, and then go to locator. And you can parent all your stuff to that locator, and then you can click on the locator and scale everything up to fit the fire effect, to fit the sphere. So the fire effect, the sphere is going to need to go into your wood, right? You're going to have to place that in your wood, and you're going to have to turn off the visibility of the geometry of the sphere, and then create the fire effect, and then do that. Then place it where you need it, and set up the simulation like I have here under fire simulation part, where the thing is, with the fire simulation in 2016, it did not need a geometry, did not need geometry for it to work, but now it does. So now it uses your geometry as the emitter. So make sure you select the sphere, and that's why it's important to scale your scene around the sphere. That's really important for me to state. Otherwise, you can leave your scene the way it is and then scale that sphere down, but you're going to have a real hard time making the fire look good. Okay? Alright. So it's scale centric when it comes to the fire simulation, the fire effect. Alright? The rest of the stuff you won't have a problem with. The lightning you won't have a problem with. You won't have a problem with the fire. You just need to remember to create the fire simulation first to get the scale down, and then you can take that out, the fire simulation, and then you can go ahead and follow the lightning effect then at that point, and then recreate the fire simulation, or just put it off to the side. You really don't the only reason why you're doing this with the lightning effect first is because of the timeline that you have. So lightning strikes. Okay, you're not going to know when the fire starts unless you know when the lightning strikes, and you won't know when the fire should start until you do the spark effects. So there's a step-by-step thing you need to follow for timing purposes. Okay, when the fire should start, you won't know that at the very beginning. Okay, so when you're doing their scale, you really can't use the fire effect until you get to the point of the third video where you use the fire effect. So hopefully that makes sense. If you have questions, please email me, no problems. I'll email you right back. And then the Bubbly Simulation, and then I've got a one that you don't see here, which is the Steam Simulation, which I'll put in. Okay, that'll be video 5, and that'll be your last one. It won't look anything like the setup here that I have, because this will be a newer video, and the idea here is it doesn't matter. The Steam is at the very end anyway. So when you get to this point, just ignore the fact that I don't have a full scene. I just have the cauldron. I don't have the fire. I don't have the sparks, the lightning effects in there. So I'm just showing you how to do the Steam, and that's very simple. Okay. When you get done with each one of these and they're working, make sure you save your work and save it in a sequence. Don't save over another save. Okay. All right. Save as and rename it as you go along. That is important when you're doing simulations, especially when you're doing 5 in a row: lightning, sparks, fire, bubbles, and steam. After you do the lightning, save it. After you do the spark, save it. Actually, I would say when you do your scale your scene to the fire effect that you're going to use, scale your scene. Put that at the top. Scale your scene, save. Do the lightning effect, save your work. Spark effect, save your work. Fire effect, save your work. Bubble. If you don't do that, you guys are going to run into all kinds of problems. And if your steam and smoke doesn't work, then you can go back to your bubbles. If that doesn't work, you can go back to your fire. See what I'm saying? So you don't have to go all the way back to the beginning if you save your scene as, and you save it between each one of these. Okay? That's what I would do. Okay? In case you run into issues, you can always go back. Because that's the first thing. When you email me and you say something doesn't work, I'm going to say, have you gone back to an earlier save and started again? You may have missed one little thing in my videos. Okay? One little thing in my videos that you miss will cause a snowball effect for things not to work. Okay? Alright. So protect yourself and save often. How am I going to grade you? Well, I'm going to grade you on the 3 images that you give me. I'm going to grade you whether you used the material. I'm going to grade you on whether you textured your scene. And then I'm going to grade you for everything that you see here. Okay? So make sure you read the grading rubrics very, very carefully. And then I'm not going to have, I don't have turn-in instructions. You guys know how to, basically, you know how to do all that. And you know what to save. And make sure you just save your files. Make sure you put your first and last name on every single file that you have. Right here, make sure you put your first and last name on every file. I still have people that don't do that. I'm going to start taking points off when you guys don't do that, because a lot of times when I'm grading, your files get mixed up with other people's files, and I'm not sure whose it is. Okay, so please make sure you do that. Okay, you're gonna have images, and you're going to have the play blast to turn in, and the MB files. Okay, that's basically it. So I wish you the best of luck with Module 6, and have fun with the Witch's Cauldron. And you can make it as scary as you want, and you can do whatever you want with lighting, as long as I can see the textures and the models and everything. And you can do whatever you want with your scenes. I'm pretty cool with that. Make sure there's a background, image, that if you don't have a wall or something as a background, then, or rocks or trees or grass or whatever to fill in the background, make sure you have something there. It could be just a plain, a wall, and that's it. So have fun, enjoy, and remember to stay calm. And I know you guys are stressed out with other classes and stuff. But I want you to have fun in this class and enjoy yourself, and because this is not rocket science. It's not that hard to do. You just got to follow the videos very closely, and if you need to pause them, great. Some of you know how to do most of these effects already. We've already done the sparks, so you know how to do that. Bubbles are simple. The fire is pretty simple if you get the scale right. And lightning is pretty simple. So you're learning something new. You're learning the lightning, okay, and you're learning the steam. And the bubbles are just basically, you can use the blobby surface, or you can use, that's what I ended up using, the blobby surface for that. And have fun. Enjoy. Just get the sequence looking right. One thing leads to another, and you have a sequence. And so have fun with it. And I'll see you guys next week.